Bartolomeo, what are you doing? So, just right off the bat, I'm pretty sure that either Shanks or somebody affiliated with Shanks, is going to show up in the cover story very soon. Because there's literally no point in having a scene of Bartolomeo burning Shanks's flag if there are no consequences to it. So, somebody is going to show up that's under Shanks, or it could be Shanks himself, and he can either forgive Bartolomeo if he finds out that he's under Luffy, or Shanks can use that as sort of like the trigger for him to have a fight with Luffy by the end of the series and say, one of your alliance members just burned down my flag in one of these towns that I'm protecting, so fight me, Luffy. Demonstrate that you're a great pirate. So, the chapter opens up with a page that I think is intended for you to overlook. I think Oda wanted you to not pay attention to that page. It's a very forgettable page, I have to admit. The first time I read the chapter, it was like, okay, whatever. And I went back to it, and there's actually something very interesting. So Brook and Chopper bump into this tiger sea creature thing. And then Chopper, there's a little joke there. He's like, oh, it's a mermaid. And then you have Brook with the hearts. It is? And Chopper's like, it's a merman. Oh, kind of disappointing. But then look at that final page. Chopper's literally on the windshield, like, look at that, look at over there. What's that over there? And Brook's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. And then Chopper says, what's he doing? I actually read two translations. In one he says, what's he doing? Fishing? And then in the other translation he says, what are they doing? And then after that we cut, and the next time we see Brook and Chopper, they're already up on the surface. So what's the point of that page if it's not setting up or foreshadowing something? Especially setting up something for Chopper to do, because let's be honest, he has had a very minor role in this arc. Brook has had his moments. Nami had her moment in this chapter, and in the previous one a little bit. Sanji, he's done stuff, and I think he's going to do more. Chopper needs his time to shine before we leave Whole Cake. Then we got the Straw Hats running out of the seducing woods. I like the panel of Sanji just smash kicking these trees. And it's problematic because the wood changes and you don't know where you're at and all that stuff, so it's meant to trick you. And I don't know if you noticed this, but Jinbei's role throughout this entire chapter is that of an instructor. It's that of like a professor. He's telling people what to do, keeping them in check, make sure nobody gets lost. Just tells Luffy, grab Carrot, I'll grab Pedro, because they're not supposed to be fighting. If they start fighting, they're going to get lost. So we got to stay together, otherwise we'll never get out of here. So I think that's kind of Oda's way of showing us the kind of role that Jinbei would fulfill in the crew. Zeus is still following them, and then Prometheus is like, hey Zeus, how dare you disobey Mama's orders? And then Luffy looks back at him and is like, okay, I'm going to try and fight you. Gomu gomu no! Armament Haki doesn't do anything, at first it's like he's trolling, he's like, and then like, bah! Like nothing happens. And turns out, thanks to Jinbei, again, professor, he says, you just gotta hit him with water. Which, now that I think about it, it makes sense because as far as we know, so Haki doesn't work on Prometheus, right? We know, I think Brook doesn't have Haki. So if Brook used an ice attack on Prometheus, it would make sense how he was able to wound him. But still, that must have been a pretty potent ice attack from Brook. And then Jinbei takes the water from the lake, not the lake, the river. But I don't remember, was the river made out of juice or something? I think it was sweet. It wasn't just water. But the whole point, even if it wasn't, I think he can extract the water from the river. Jinbei's attack hits, and that kind of pushes Prometheus out of his sort of enraged, angry mode. The mode where he just looks like a giant flame. Now he turns back into a sun, but he seems pretty okay after that, if you notice those panels. So whatever Brook did was obviously more powerful than that, because it actually managed to injure Prometheus, and Prometheus was complaining about it afterward. Then we get to the most divisive part of the chapter. Actually, the most divisive thing that I've seen the community react to in a long time when it comes to One Piece. And that's the fact that Nami ends up using Zeus to her advantage. Before I get into it, I think it's important to understand what people think the issue is, because people like to stick to specific things, like little details, like why did Nami use Zeus? It's like, that's not the issue. That's not really what people are complaining about. That's what they're saying. That's what they say, but it's not what they mean. Okay. So, and I've dealt with this. I think this is pretty normal, especially because I review Dragon Ball Super. Like stuff like this, criticism like this, debates like this, pretty much happen every single week with Dragon Ball Super. So the real issue here that people, are alluding to in their arguments is about the Yonko. The fact that you have these main 4 monstrosities that have been hyped up since Water 7, living in the new world that nobody's supposed to be able to touch, right? And not just the Yonko, well, in this case, it's a Yonko. But not just that, even the New World has been hyped up. Pre-time skip, we had people saying how it's a very dangerous place, how like the first half of the Grand Line is paradise, it's heaven compared to the New World, which is hell. And like there was even like a shot of Kid, a scene of Kid crucifying these fodder pirates, telling them, if you're not willing to give up your life by going into the New World, then just get out of the sea. What are you doing here? And so it's been hyped up. And so, in other words, when people say, this escape is just, becoming way too convenient, how is Nami able to land a shot on Big Mom using her own devil fruit ability against her? What they really are saying is like, yeah, this is kind of serving to de-hype a Yonko. Yonko! And then some people just want to get to Wano as soon as possible. That's the honest truth. Then again, if you really think about it, who doesn't want to get to Wano at this point? I think everyone wants to get to Wano. It's just a question of when and how. So I understand where people are coming from. And there is a part of me, I will say there is a part of me that does think that, yeah, this is pretty convenient for the Straw Hats. Despite the fact that it was definitely foreshadowed. Back when they were fighting the army, Big Mom's army out on the field, Nami had a comment. She said, I can't make these big thunderclouds like Big Mom can, but I could still control the lightning. Something to that effect. So, and people back then were saying, oh, is she going to control, is she going to control Zeus? Is she going to control the lightning? So that was like a theory, a prediction. So people were okay with the possibility back then. What changed? And look, listen to me, right? It's not like she completely controls him or anything. Like, I was actually prepping myself for the worst. I honestly, the worst case scenario for me in this case would have been if Nami just pulled like a Pokemon trainer and just like throws a Pokeball, and she's like, let's wrap this up, Zeus. Use Thunderbolt on Big Mom. Great job, Zeus. You're my best friend. I mean, that would have been atrocious. So thankfully, that's not what happens. He's just eating stuff up. He's a glutton. Kind of like he's a reflection of Big Mom's gluttony. So in his mind, just like in Big Mom's mind, his desire for sweets, his desire for yummy treats completely overpowers any other urge, even the urge to immediately follow orders. We also don't know what the final outcome, what the result of that lightning attack actually is. Yes, we see Big Mom with the whites in her eyes, but I'm pretty confident that it's just going to end up being a stall move. Just a move to stall her, because Big Mom, as we've seen in previous chapters, is an absolute tank. Either way you look at it, it's a pretty big feat for Nami, and again, going back to foreshadowing, this kind of was foreshadowed back in Zou. We know Usopp gave her an improved climb attack, so that just didn't come out of nowhere. But then again, people can say, why didn't Big Mom control Zeus better? Why didn't she extract her soul out of him so that, he wouldn't be able to land this hit? And, maybe it's because she was too far away. Maybe, she needs to be closer to the person, to the entity, to extract her soul. But the point of the matter is you can always find a loophole, okay? If you really did not like this chapter, then nothing I say is going to change your mind. In your mind, it's going to be a bad chapter. And the same thing goes for people that liked the chapter. Nothing anyone says is going to convince you that it's a bad chapter. Like I said before, just moving along. Like I said before, Capone definitely not leaving whole cake like this, especially not after the scene that we saw with Chiffon. I sure hope he's going to accompany us to Wano, because that's where most of the supernovas are going to be. And then also pudding by the end switches, kind of goes back to evil pudding mode. Again, just back and forth. And it could be the fact that Oda just wanted to end this chapter on a cliffhanger, and that's what he decided to go with. It could also be the fact that Pudding is just such a great actress, and she's able to switch the mode on and off. It could also be, we talked about Big Mom, the possibility of Big Mom having a mental illness, and research has shown that sometimes mental illness is hereditary. So that's one option. I'm just putting these options out there. Finally, it could also be, I don't know if you notice, it could also be that she's jealous because Sanji was literally running through the woods carrying Nami like this. Yeah. We saw a little bit of that before when Sanji catches Nami, and she's really, really happy to see him, and they're both smiling at each other, and then we get her reaction, and she's kind of shaded gray, in the dark. So she could be insanely jealous at this point in time.
That's it for me, guys. Like I said before, it's just a matter of you accepting or not accepting the chapter. I personally already did. I actually enjoyed it, to be honest. So let me know your thoughts down below. Agree, disagree. It's all good. I really want to know what Katakuri's thinking. He's so chill. Like, he literally saw that lightning bolt come down and he's just like, almost as if he expected that to happen. I don't know. He obviously has something up his sleeve. I want to know what that is. Chopper and Brook are prepping for battle. And what's up with, like, I thought it was very weird how Pero actually offered them, you can leave. You can leave. Why? Is he afraid that Chopper and Brook, a Chopper and Brook team up can actually take him out? Maybe he was just straight up lying and they were going to get ambushed afterward. Maybe he was just straight up lying and they were going to get ambushed afterward. But yeah, it was a pretty cool scene showcasing Chopper and Brook's loyalty to the Sunny and to the Straw Hats. I'm also kind of excited because I think this definitely sets up a fight aboard the Sunny. The Big Mom Pirates versus the Straw Hats. Like the Straw Hat Alliance, the people coming in from the woods plus Chopper and Brook. Can they do something against the Big Mom Pirates that are stationed at the Sunny? We'll have to find out. Also, a prediction, because, of my Pokemon knowledge, that I think that lightning that hit Big Mom is not going to hurt her, but it's going to paralyze her so that it stops her from chasing after them. And her being immobilized in that way is going to serve to give Chiffon and Pudding the time they need to bake the cake. That's how I see things working out. But that's it for me. Thanks a bunch. Like the video if you did. Appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel for more One Piece reviews, for manga reviews, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.